500 with 3.9% APR up to $2,700 in purchase allowance. These offers won't last. Rush into Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today or shop online at hurlchev.com.
Get wireless on your terms with NextTap Wireless. Choose from 18, 24, or 36-month agreements. With all the latest devices and a reliable network built for Kansans by Kansans, experience our service when and where you need it most. Plus, you'll receive a $100 Visa gift card on all new lines. Visit a location near you today. NextTap Wireless, connecting Kansans.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales. Just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
Spring is here and Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware has everything you need for the season. Get your lawn looking its best with Ultimate Fertilizer and power up with Ego blowers and mowers. Got a project? They got a surplus of lumber ready to go. Plus, fire up the fun with their selection of grills and griddles. Hoover's is also proud to sponsor the Pioneer 5K, 10K, half and full marathon supporting Colby Community College cross country on April 26th and remind you to sign up and participate. It's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Roof floor now, and it needs replaced. Who are you gonna call?
Roof Masters!
Roof Masters Roofing at Colby has been your premier roofing contractor for over 40 years, offering free estimates on all types of roofs, as well as seamless rain gutters and vinyl siding. So give us a call today. What's that number, Jake?
462-6642. I think you better call
Roof Masters!
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
If you want to win in football, it all starts up front. Mass kicks ass.
The region's only local sports talk.
Listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 102.5. Simulcasting on Goodland's 730 Gold KLOE.
Guys everywhere.
Discussing it all from the preps.
Showtime for the Lady Eagles.
To the pros.
McKinnon is in at running back. First down and goal to go. Play action fake. Right side throw. Touchdown! Kansas City!
The Blitz is presented by Hurl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, as well as the Insurance Agency, Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
Dardar, welcome back, and then some. There's a 2-run home run for Seth.
Puts a bunt down. McMahon charges, bare hand pick, throw, got him! What a play by Ryan McMahon again.
The clock at 10 here in St. Louis at the Frozen Four. The clock winds down. Western Michigan wins its first ever national championship. Kalamazoo, Michigan, the capital of the college hockey world.
The long journey is over. McElroy has his masterpiece.
Another great weekend in sports. Hey, good Monday morning, everybody. Glad you're with us here on the Morning Blitz. As always, broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket, 102.5, nwksradio.net, and, of course, on X, Facebook, and YouTube on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Thank you so much for hopping on the program here on this Monday. It's April the 14th. Cloudy, overcast skies, a little cool, a little bit of precipitation feel outside. Really not much, just a little bit of a feel of precipitation is the way I will put it. I do know north, up in the very northwest corner, up on Highway 436 up there, they've got some rain that's moving from west to east.
So a little bit of moisture moving across up there on the north side along the state borders. Yeah, expected to be a cooler day today, 59. I mean, after Saturday where it was pretty much 90, very hot day. I know Saturday had to be one of the biggest lawn days, at least in the town of Goodland, because I was in that boat. I was out making sure that getting my lawn into somewhat decent shape, ready for the growing season. I was making a stop over at our great sponsors, Hoover Lumber, Ace Hardware, and renting out some equipment and making sure I had everything I need to get my lawn in shape for this year. And how many people I saw there? My gosh, there were a ton of people. They're bright and early when the doors opened, and I was there just to like them. And so I know that Saturday had to be a very busy day for a lot of people out there working on the yards. I know I was one of them. And I tell you, I wore my Apple Watch while I was out there working, and it said that I walked almost 12 miles and had almost 24,000 steps on Saturday going out and doing yard work. So it was my feet definitely showed and felt that way after Saturday. So hope everyone had a great Saturday though. Enjoyed any sort of way. Maybe you didn't do as much yard. Maybe you sat and watched Rory and the great Masters that was. Like I said, great weekend of sports overall. Today's program, we've got plenty to get to here on a Monday. We will get to our weekend winners and losers here in just a little bit. We will be visiting with our good friend Riley Gates of On3 Sports, talking about Rory's triumph there in Augusta, and also about a storyline that we talked about on Friday, the big news out of Tennessee and their starting quarterback deciding to part ways. So more thoughts on that coming up here in just a little bit. So we'll have thoughts on that with Riley Gates coming up here at the bottom of the hour. And then we will get to the leftovers, talk some local baseball and softball and all that coming up here. So, yes, plenty to get to here today on a Monday show. But as we usually do, we kick it off with our weekend winners and losers.
There are two kinds of people in this world.
There's winners and there's losers.
Which ones were which this past weekend?
I want winners.
Loser! You're a loser!
It's the weekend's winners and losers on the Morning Blitz.
Want to be a winner, be a winner.
I usually always try to start in on the local side, and so we'll throw out some shout-outs to some track and field teams that had some phenomenal showings this past weekend. Shout-out first and foremost to Oakley and Hoxie boys and girls track and field teams, as all four of them took first place at their respected track meets on Friday. We had a beautiful day Friday, and there were a lot of area track meets happening. So shout out to Hoxie boys and girls who took home the top spot. It's their own Hoxie Invitational. And then Oakley boys and girls finishing in first place in both those standings at the Rollins County Invitational. So shout out to those track and field teams on great showings. Also shout out to Goodland Cowboy Track and Field. They took home the top spot at the Norton Track Invite on Friday. They bested the host Norton Blue Jays by 12 points in the final team standings. Colby ended up finishing in third place there up in Norton on the boys' side. And then on the girls' side, Colby with a really good showing. They finished runners-up by just 4 points behind Ness City, who won the invitational there at Norton. So Cowgirls finished, I believe, in 8th place for those who are curious down at Norton, or over at Norton, I should say. So congratulations to Goodland Cowboys, Hoxie boys and girls, and Oakley boys and girls. Winners of the weekend, first and foremost, for the great showings this past Friday. Beautiful day to run some track and field, and great showings from those teams. Of course, probably the biggest winner of the weekend had to be Rory McIlroy, of course, winning a Masters green jacket, and on top of that, completing the Grand Slam. You just think about, if anybody who watched it, I don't know who wouldn't. If you like sports, you probably were tuned in Sunday afternoon and watching that, just how it all unfolded. Rory goes into the day, he's up a couple of strokes on Bryson DeChambeau, and then, just kind of goes out there and lets the lead just fall away, hits it into the water, has a couple of bad shots, misses a couple putts, and all of a sudden, he's now tied at the top, in a three-way tie with Oberg and Justin Rose. Rose makes a huge birdie putt on 18 to put himself in position to at least have a possibility for a playoff. And Rory misses a putt there on 18 at the first time they played it. And so then they go to the playoff, and Rory with a fantastic second shot gives his birdie putt a chance, as Rose missed his birdie putt to win the Masters green jacket and complete the career Grand Slam. He becomes only the 6th player to become a Grand Slam champion in the Masters era. He joins Gene Sarazen, Ben Hogan, Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, and Tiger Woods as the only golfers to capture all 4 major championships. And, it was just the emotion to watch. I mean, you always know it's quite a powerful scene when the telecast and Jim Nantz pretty much don't speak for about a good 2 or 3 minutes. Don't say anything. They just let the pictures do the speaking for them. And to see Rory on his knees and elbows hunched over on the green, after winning it and finally getting this done. I mean, this was a guy, people remember they were thinking about him having the Grand Slam kind of like Tiger did when he was super young, because Rory got all of his major titles, it seemed like, right out of the way when he was still young, when he still had the curls coming out the back of his hat. Remember? I'll never forget the U.S. Open at Congressional when he ran away from everybody. He won by like 10 plus strokes. He was so dominant at Congressional. And got that U.S. Open. He's got the PGA Championship, but the Masters green jacket always seemed to elude him. Think about it. 17 times he had been there at Augusta, and there were multiple times he finished in the top 5. In fact, I saw this amazing stat, and I hope I saved it. I wanted to see this. I think I saved it. I'll double check and make sure I did. But anyway, there was this amazing stat on Rory McIlroy about his finishes at the majors. If I could hit the right button, that would be really helpful, Ross. There we go. Let's see. Oh gosh darn, I don't have it. But I think it was like 21. I think it was 21 majors that Rory finished top 10 in, but did not win. Think about all the times he's come close. And I think of those top, I think there were like 4 of them that were at the Masters. He was just so close, so close to winning a green jacket so many times and completing the Grand Slam within the last decade, but just could not get it done. And finally gets it done at the age of 35 and able to get that Grand Slam burden off of his shoulders. And he had been playing, and just think about the off the course drama that Rory's had to deal with within the last 5 years. Think about him kind of being the face of the PGA Tour and standing up in the face of LIV, and carrying that burden for so long, kind of being the guy who's saying, we're not going to go over to LIV. We're going to stay here and play the way it's supposed to be, kind of taking the wrath of some of LIV and stuff of that. So he took a big burden of that. Of course, his family life at home had kind of been in question. Him and his wife were thinking about getting divorced. They've apparently worked things over and are still together. But yeah, it's been quite, and so knowing all those things and following Rory McIlroy's career, yesterday you can totally understand why getting that green jacket and hoisting that trophy meant so much to him. It's just unbelievable to see, and to see that it almost didn't happen again. It really almost didn't. Once again, just some tough breaks and some things not going his way, hitting it into the water. They hit it into Ray's Creek. And then, having that amazing shot, I believe it was on 15 or 16, hooking it around the tree and having it roll up, snuggle up next to the hole. There were some amazing shots. It was really fantastic television watching it. And of course, and not making the putt on 18, have to go back and do a playoff on the 18th hole. It was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. And so no doubt Rory McIlroy, probably the biggest winner of the weekend. Masters champ, gets the green jacket, completes the career Grand Slam, and on top of that makes $4.2 million. So you know what? Pretty darn good weekend for Rory McIlroy, I would say. He no doubt probably the biggest winner of the weekend as he gets it done with the career Grand Slam. And I loved his quote in the post-game press conference with the media. He said, before we start, I have a question for everybody else. What are we going to talk about next year? Because they were always talking about when's Rory going to win, that green jacket and complete the Grand Slam. Now that he's got it done, I'm actually kind of curious because he's playing some good golf right now and he got this burden off his shoulders. I kind of wonder if he'll actually go out there and even play better. Like, I wonder if we'll see him win another major in this season. I'm not saying he'll win all of them, but I said, what if he goes out and he wins another major this season? Because I just feel like the pressure is now finally off. He's done the Grand Slam. He's one of 6 people to ever do it in the illustrious history of golf. And now I'm just wondering if he'll go out and he'll just have a great showing. That would be my biggest question mark going forward. I think we could see him possibly win another major here in 2025. All right, we're talking weekend winners and losers. As always, the FE Bank text line is open at 785-899-2222 if you'd like to chime in throughout the morning or give us your weekend winners and losers. We'd love to hear and see those. My final winner of the weekend is a big one, and not as big as Rory, but it's pretty big, and that would be Tennessee football coach Josh Heupel. Josh Heupel is a massive winner of the weekend, and this goes back to our Friday show. Thanks to those who listened and chimed in with their thoughts on it on Friday. But this goes back to the story on Friday where there was news surrounding the Tennessee football program that their quarterback, Nico Amalieva, is going to possibly hit the portal because he's looking for more money. Now, I'm going to admit that I was wrong on my numbers, so I apologize about that. I was wrong on my numbers. I said $8 million. I was way off. I apologize. Must have been thinking of something else or read something wrong. But nonetheless, he was making $2.4 million was Nico, the quarterback for Tennessee. And he wanted over $4 million. He wanted to double his amount. And anyway, that's what he wanted. And there was rumors swirling around going into Friday that he might be leaving. Friday afternoon, saw the headline pop up that Nico was not at practice. He was not there. And then after practice on Friday, Josh Heupel said, and this is why he's the winner of the weekend, we're moving on. We're not going to deal with that. We're going to move on and go somewhere else. He is no one is bigger than the program, is what head coach Tennessee Heupel told. Winner of the weekend, Josh Heupel, for that statement. No one is bigger than the program. I don't care if you're a 5-star quarterback. I don't care if you led us to a college football playoff appearance. I don't care. No one is bigger than the program. And so Nico Amalieva, or as I like to call him, Nico Amanalevia, because he did leave him, is now out in the portal, probably land on the West Coast. I would guess UCLA, USC, maybe somewhere else. We'll see, but somewhere that's going to give him the money that he's looking for. You know, there are quarterbacks out there that are making $4+ million, and Nico believes that he is worth that. And that's fine. You can believe that. But at the same time, there's no loyalty in college athletics anymore. It's all about making money. And once again, I'm not against the making money. I'm a capitalist just like anybody else. But at the same time, you have to realize that sometimes it's just not worth it. And is money more important than your team? And that's the sad part here with this. So shout out to Josh Heupel once again. He's a humongous winner of the weekend for standing his ground and saying, you know what? I don't, honestly, he didn't say this, but he could have said it. I don't care that we possibly threw our chances of an SEC football title out the door. I don't really care. We are here to bank young men. We are here to be a football program and not a cash cow. And so if you would like to leave, by all means, there's the door. Don't let it hit you on the way out. I mean, that to me was a phenomenal stance by a head coach who knows that, you know, it could really impact his upcoming season, knows it'll impact his program. No offense. I don't know who Tennessee has as a backup quarterback. I don't believe it's anybody super amazing, not on the same level as Nico. But like I said, this is just an amazing stance by a head coach saying, we're not going to give into this. We are not going to do that. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So here's the story on the $8 million. So Nico was making $2.4 million on a contract that was reported to be $8 million when he signed it, but he started receiving payments when he was still in high school, and the total value of the contract would have been closer to $10 million over the life of the deal. So I guess I wasn't totally wrong. He signed an $8 million deal. Once again, if he stayed all 4 years in college, but it could have been close to $10 million. He says that wasn't enough. Now there is a little bit of a story behind this. So you might see a lot of, and this is probably the biggest one, but probably a big reason why he's leaving Tennessee is because not only he wants to make more money, but because things like this might actually start to get tamped down a little bit with this House versus the NCAA, because there is a clause in this new contract coming out, they say, that says any NIL deals over $600 will have to go be approved through a clearinghouse. So just throwing money out at somebody is not going to be approved, and is not going to just be like, yeah, sure, here, have the money. They're going to have to get that approved through higher powers in order for it to be legal. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Players are still going to get paid by the universities, not probably in the millions and millions of dollars, but they're going to get paid by the universities out of that $20 to $25 billion pool. That's going to get spread across, football, men's basketball. We talked about that on Friday a little bit. They're going to spread that out. But at the same time, that's the money they're going to get for sure. And then they could have NIL to supplement that, but anything over $600 is going to have to go through a clearinghouse. And so that's going to cause a few more, barriers to try to break through in order to get that money. And so you're seeing players saying, well, heck, I want to make my money now so I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. So that would be a reason why Nico Amaliva is going to head out and go find somewhere else. So like I said, this is amazing to me. To me, the amazing part is Tennessee did not fold. That to me is the amazing thing. They did not fold. They did not go to his wish. They were not going to double your salary. We're not going to do that after one season. We're not doing that. And so if you would like to leave, by all means, please head out the door. Shout out to Tennessee, a massive win of the weekend. And head coach Josh Heupel saying, no one is bigger than the program. Thank you, Josh Heupel. Earned a lot of respect for you with that statement. That was fantastically well done. So winner of the weekend, head coach Josh Heupel in Tennessee football. Yes, they lost a great quarterback for this upcoming 2025 season, but they stood their ground, put their foot down, and said, no one is bigger than the program, and I respect that. And I like that. That's why it's a winner of the weekend. On to losers of the weekend here before we get to a break. I only really have one. And honestly, how could it not be the Colorado Rockies? What a weekend it was. If you bought tickets to go watch Colorado play baseball this weekend and made the trip out there to Denver, to Lodo, and spent money and had of course, it's a beautiful facility and the area around is so much fun. It's all great. But you went there to witness not one, not two, but 0 runs scored over the weekend. The Colorado Rockies were shut out by the San Diego Padres 16-0 over the combined 3-game series. They did not score a run. They lost Friday 8-0. They lost Saturday 2-0, and they lost on Sunday 6-0. 16 to Nathan. The Rockies were outscored by the Padres this weekend. It is really, really, really bad. The Rockies were held to just 2 hits in yesterday's 6-0 loss. 2 measly hits is all the Rockies had. A couple of singles, one from Michael Tolia, one from Tovar. I mean, how in the world are you supposed to win if you don't score runs? That is the dumbest thing ever. Now, don't get me wrong, the Padres are having a great year. They're off to a 13-3 start. They are doing great, but the Rockies could not score a single run whatsoever. And I have to apologize. Rockies were playing at the Padres, so luckily you didn't have to buy tickets. I misread that. So Rockies were at the Padres. You did not have to go see that in person, thank goodness. But 16-0, they were shut out by the Padres this weekend. Did not score a run. That is a massive loser of the weekend. By the way, the Royals, not a whole lot better of a weekend themselves, as they luckily were able to avoid a sweep at the hands of the Guardians. They lost the first 2 of the weekend, 7-0 Friday, 6-3 on Saturday, but then bounced back behind Cole Reagan's 10 strikeout performance on Sunday. They win 4-2 and avoid a sweep at the hand of the Guardians. Still, they scored runs, and they avoided a sweep, unlike the Rockies, who once again did not score a run in the 3-game series against the Padres. And guess what's next for Colorado? It's a series in LA against the Dodgers. It isn't going to get a whole lot better. How long will this streak last where the Rockies don't score a run? Look, I think we all knew, if you looked at this season, you thought it's going to be a bad year for the Rockies. Everybody knew that. Even their fans knew it. It was going to be a bad year. But if you look just at the first few games of the season, look at the runs scored by the Rockies. Look at it. I mean, 2, 1, 4, 1, 1, 1, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 2. They don't score enough runs. And they play in one of the biggest yards in all of Major League Baseball. This is a humongous ballpark. The ball flies far because of the altitude and the thin air. What in the world? What in the world's going on? Unbelievable. They cannot score runs. Can the Colorado Rockies? They are 3-12. That, by the way, is now officially the worst record in Major League Baseball. Even worse than the Chicago White Sox. Man, loser of the weekend, no doubt, the Colorado Rockies. Whoa, that was bad. Okay, there you go. Weekend winners and losers here on a Monday on the Morning Blitz. Once again, if you want to hit your weekend winners, losers, throw them in through the FNB Bank text line at 785-899-2222. All right, we'll take our first time out. We'll come back here on a Monday show. We'll visit with Riley Gates, talking more on the green jacket that finally fits over the shoulders of Rory McIlroy and the Nico Amaliva story out of Tennessee. That's more next here on a Monday edition of the Morning Blitz.
Farmers and ranchers, are you looking to sell your equipment at auction for zero fees and zero commissions? Well, then you need to check out Hayden Outdoors' new online equipment auction platform. You can list your equipment in our monthly online auctions using our easy-to-use platform, and you don't pay any fees or commissions. Visit HaydenOutdoors.com to learn more. That's HaydenOutdoors.com.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Monday, April 14th. On the overnight last night, May corn lower 3.5, 486 3/4. July down 2 3/4 at 494 1/4. September down 1/2 cent at 455 3/4. December corn down 3/4 at 462 3/4. May soybeans down 1/4 at 1042 1/2. July down 1 cent at 1052. August up 1/4 cent at 1045 3/4. September up 2 cents at 1026 1/4. Chicago wheat, the May contract lower 8 3/4 at 547. July down 8.5 at 561 3/4. September down 8 1/4 at 575 3/4. December soft wheat down 7 3/4 at 598. Kansas City wheat, the May contract lower 12 cents on the overnight at 556. July down 12 1/4 at 571. September down 12 at 586. December hard wheat down 11 3/4 at 609. On the stock market this morning, the Dow up $451 at 40,851. The S&P up 86 at 5,477. The Nasdaq up 374 at 19,182. Gold lower $23 an ounce at 3,221. Crude oil up 86 cents a barrel at 62.38. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our call Wadwaff a call. John Hanke or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or in our Kansas City office, myself, Tom Sluto, Jared Law, or Tyler Ghosh at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Palmer Amaranth. 4 counts of yield theft, resistance to groups 2, 4, 9.
You ain't got nothing on me, man.
We've been surveilling you. And now we've got tough...
of resistant kochia, including types resistant to glyphosate, 2,4-D, or fluroxapyr. Take back control with Scorch EXT from New Farm.
Get ready for powerful deals at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Right now, drive home a 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Turbo Max with 0.9% financing or up to $7,800 in purchase allowance. Step up in luxury in a 2025 Sierra 1500 Denali and get up to $5,250 in purchase allowance. Or take on any job with the 25 Sierra 2500. with 3.9% APR up to $2,700 in purchase allowance. These offers won't last. Rush into Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today or shop online at hurlchev.com.
Miss the weekend action?
Yes, you caught me.
No worries. We've got all the highlights and lowlights covered.
Hey, okay, well, catch me up.
This is the Morning Blitz with Russ Volkmer.
7:35 Mountain Time, 8:35 Central Time on a Monday, April the 14th. Glad you're with us. Once again, cloudy and 39 out. A cool start to the day and a cooler day today. 59, a couple of warm days on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then a cool rest of the week ahead, including on Friday, looking at like 49 degrees. It's great weather to sit inside and listen to the radio auction. That's what you need to do. The NWKS Radio's radio auction coming up here on Friday and owing all day, so be prepared for that. We'll be getting that sale bill out to you here early this week, and make sure that you tune in and listen all week for amazing deals on amazing items and services at the NWKS Radio auction. That's this Friday, April 18th. All right, waiting patiently on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware hotline, our good friend Riley Gates, who might be slightly hungover from this past Sunday. Did you happen to partake in a few adult beverages after Rory's victory?
I know I joked with you about that. I did celebrate Rory's Masters victory a little bit. Not kind of as hungover though, or anything like that as I expected. Certainly, like I would say, if you took the 2019 Masters where Tiger won, and that's a 10 of a hangover from celebrating, I'd say I'm at like 1 today. So not complaining about it. It's good to start a Monday not hungover, but yeah, it was a good day.
It just proves that you've gotten older and wiser, or you can hold your liquor better. One of the three, right?
This is also true. This is also very true.
Riley Gates, our friend from On3. Man, what were your emotions watching Rory on Sunday? Because I texted you, and Rory hadn't even teed off yet to come on the show. What was your emotions watching that final round with Rory, and just the ups and the downs, and for him to finally pull it out at the end? What was it like watching it from your perspective?
Legitimately was all of my emotions. Like, I think I experienced every emotion you could during that round of golf. It's like you're so excited to start, and then boom, double bogey. It's like, oh my, it's just a crushing blow literally right off the gun. And then you're kind of making your way through. He gets another 3-swing lead or flip there to take the lead back, and you're like, all right, like we're back in charge again. So it's like you're up and down roller coaster all day. And I had some people, so I was also playing golf yesterday. Had it on my phone on the cart as we're like buzzing around, and I probably would have played a lot better if I hadn't been doing that. But regardless, I had people texting me, and he goes up 5. I think he goes up 5 with Bryson imploding, and I had some people texting me, and they were like, it's over. And I was like, I just don't think it is. Like, there was something in my gut. I was like, I am not going to say that about Rory until it's over. And I think we saw why. So yeah, that's watching Rory McIlroy play golf for you. You get all the emotions, you get pumped up, you get excited, and you get crushed all at the same time.
It's probably why he's 35 and has about as much gray hair as he does already, if I had to take a guess.
Yeah.
It's hard to think, like, he's 35 years old and you see all that gray. Like, the guy looks like he's in his mid-40s. I
actually thought that exact same thing yesterday.
It really makes you wonder too, with Rory getting this, on this quest to become the 6th person to get to a Grand Slam. I mean, it's been this has been a possibility for quite a while for Rory to make it to a Grand Slam. And just the Masters green jacket has eluded him. Because I was talking about earlier in the show about how I remember when he was at the U.S. Open at Congressional, when he won that, and he won it by like 10 strokes. I mean, he was dominating golf back when he had the curls come out the back of the hat. And he was a young Rory McIlroy. And then he's gone through, this, decade plus of kind of just being mediocre to an extent, yet sometimes showing the flashes. I mean, we talk about the frustration for a fan. His frustration had to be out through the roof, or I should say through the roof, I would say, over these last, decade of years, I would think.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it should have been accomplished a decade ago. He should have won the Masters when he had that 4-shot lead, and then obviously blew it. So obviously that would have been completed a long time ago. And look, in sports, there's some people that like, it's not really fair to say that like someone deserves a championship or an honor if they don't earn it. Like I've always said, I think Bill Snyder's football career deserves a national championship for everything he did as a head coach. He didn't obviously accomplish it. He didn't earn it, but I feel like he's a person that should have that on his resume. Rory McIlroy is somebody that should have a Grand Slam. Like that's what I always thought. He's an icon in the sport. He obviously came close a lot of times. And so if he hadn't won yesterday and he goes and plays another 20 years or whatever, and he doesn't ever win the Masters, it really didn't matter how many majors he won. We would have been sitting here just like, God, he just should have had the Grand Slam and he just never got it. And so it's relieving if you're a fan, if you're a fan of Rory or if you're a fan of golf in general, that like you finally get to check that box off, because it's no longer a story. It's no longer a narrative going around. I texted my friends yesterday. I said, what's the narrative in golf now? Because like that was like the big question that we kept asking ourselves all the time. Like, is this the year Rory's going to break through? Is this year Rory's going to break through? And I don't know that there is one right now. I said, I don't really have an answer. I'm curious if you guys had one. But it was no doubt the biggest story in the sport right now. And now that question's answered. So it's really good, I think, for Rory, for the game, for the fans, just for everybody.
Isn't it honestly really a good feeling for Rory? Because, he's gone through a lot of, at least the last 5 years, in his personal life. And then, of course, being kind of the face of the PGA, going up in that war against LIV for a while. He was kind of the poster boy of that. I mean, that no doubt had to have an impact on his game. Not saying that if it didn't happen, he would have won sooner. But, I mean, you have to really think about it. He really kind of deserved for what he did off the course as well as on it.
Well, and if you rewind to a year ago at the PGA Championship, or not PGA Championship, sorry, the U.S. Open, that was really kind of the time where the PGA was starting to come around. That's when we were starting to talk about a new deal. And you saw Rory's game change. I was saying this a year ago. It's like the whole LIV thing was, I think it was impacting his play over the last few years and kind of holding him back. And then once the PGA kind of, for lack of a better phrase, or to put it simply, changed course on LIV, it was like a weight was off his shoulders. He didn't have to carry the baton for the PGA Tour. He didn't have to publicly fight LIV all the time. Then he could just go back to playing golf. And I think that's why he contended in the U.S. Open last year. And I think that's why he was in this position again today, or on Sunday. And I just think he's got a whole different perspective in that aspect. I think the divorce / non-divorce that he went through kind of woke his eyes up a little bit, and now he's just got that monkey off his back. He's got his personal monkeys off his back, and he can just go play golf. He can just go try to rack up more majors and see what type of a career legacy he can leave for the next 20 years or so.
Don't you, and I think you kind of said this there, but don't you think like I feel like we have a really good chance seeing him win another major even here in 2025, because this pressure is now off of him. He can just go out there and play. He's gotten it done, and now he can just go out there and play. And I think we could see probably like the success we saw earlier in his career, possibly, if he continued to play this good of golf.
I don't see any reason to think why he can't. He's playing great golf. It's his third win of the season. We saw it last year with Scotty. Not that he's playing as good as Scotty did last year, but once you get on a roll, once you win some tournaments, it's just kind of momentum, and it just carries with you. And I do think there's a lot to be said about not just shaking the Masters off of your back, but also that loss to Bryson last year at the U.S. Open was like devastating, because I mean, he hadn't won a major in 12 years or whatever, and he came that close and he blew it. Well, now he finally got through that. He showed he could win again on that scale. I won't be shocked if he's contending once again. If he goes, I would love to see him. I would love to see him win any major, but I'd love to see him go make a push at the Open Championship again. That's one that means a ton to him, obviously, with his heritage and everything. So I don't think there's any reason to say, oh, well, that'll be the last time we see him win a major, because I think he'll be right there on the doorstep for the next three.
We are once again visiting with Riley Gates of On3 Sports on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. I want to change gears here. I want to talk about another massive story from the weekend, and that was the story out of Knoxville, Tennessee, where Nico Amalieva is going to Amalieva, Tennessee, in search of more money. And I'm kind of curious, your thoughts on just this whole scenario from the timeline where it kind of started to kind of leak out late last week to where we sit here right now. What are your thoughts and emotions on this storyline?
My thoughts is this is where we're at in college football. We don't have players as employees. We don't have them in a collective bargaining agreement. We don't have anything tying them to a school, even if they have an NIL contract with the school. So given all of that being first off, there's no sense in complaining. This is why you don't pay players. We need to go back to not paying players, blah, blah, blah. If you're thinking it, don't think it. It's not going back, no matter how ugly this was. It's just not going to happen. That said, this is where we're at without those things I listed there, because what we had happen here was a kid who, by all accounts, enjoyed playing football at Tennessee, had a great relationship with his head coach, but he had people in his circle tell him he needed more money, went to bat for him. He doesn't have a normal agent. His dad is part of the agent process, and they overplayed their hand. Look, when Nico came out of high school, he was one of the first NIL players. Like, his reported deal that he got, I think it was $8 million over 4, was groundbreaking, because we just had never seen NIL deals of that size, and we had not seen a multi-year NIL deal. And so he kind of changed history there. And as we've seen in pro sports, the market changes all the time. People get new contracts to match bigger deals. And that's what he's trying to do here. Except I think one thing that Nico and his circle didn't take into account is he hasn't really lived up to what we had expected of him. Going into last year, when we kind of had Nico and we had Tennessee as like, they could be a dark horse. They could be good in the SEC. They could make the playoff and make a push, and they obviously did make the playoff, but he didn't really light people up in the way that people thought. And he certainly didn't light people up for the $4 million a year that he's looking for, reportedly. So yeah, I think they thought that they could squeeze Tennessee out of more money, which is their right. We don't have anything saying he can't do that. Unfortunately, Tennessee called his bluff, and they said, we're not going to give you, you're not really worth that to us. We have a team to think about, because, you go allow him to get the money that he was seeking after holding out. What type of message does that send to the rest of the team? Not a good one. So Tennessee held firm. He really can't come back after that. Like that, it's a really weird dynamic after that. And now he's going to have to go find a new place. And I don't really know that he's going to get $4 million from somebody. Maybe somebody will give him that, and they really see a lot of potential in him. I think he could be a great quarterback somewhere, but I don't think he's worth $4 million. And I think Tennessee made the right decision.
See, that to me, the biggest storyline is not the Nico leaving part. It's the part that Tennessee said, there's the door. We're not going to pay you. That was just so massive. If you think about it from because let's face it, Tennessee probably had a shot at winning an SEC title this year. They had a chance, especially with Nico there. And that's probably going out the door because of what they're going to leave behind in the quarterback position. I mean, to me, it was just an unbelievable stance by the coach and by a program of Tennessee stature, by the way, which is really, really a big time program, and saying, nope, you're not bigger than the program. We are moving on. That to me is amazing, because I don't know if you would see that happen at very many places, honestly.
Yeah, and I think it's commendable. I think it's what more people need to do, whether that's players, whether that's head coaches seeking new deals. I'm not trying to say that like Jerome Tang thought he was bigger in K-State basketball, but like I don't really know that his new contract he got a year ago was super justified. So I think athletic directors a lot around the country could do this a lot too with coaches. Look, here's what we think you're worth. This is what you've accomplished. If you don't agree, enjoy your next stop, because we're not going to just bend over and give you all this money and give you a massive buyout just because you asked for it. I think it's a great message. Whether Tennessee's probably, like you said, they're probably not going to be very good this year. They have talent in the quarterback room, but it's not going to be probably SEC ready. They're probably not going to get. I mean, they're going to get someone in the portal this week when it opens up. Their next quarterback might not even be in the portal right now. I don't know who it's going to be, but they're probably not going to be as good as they expected. But I think for the long haul, it's better for Tennessee. You're going to keep a lot of guys happy. You're going to keep them satisfied, and you're also not stretching yourself too thin on NIL money to go around. So, yeah, I think it was a great move by Josh Heupel. Look, I don't wish ill on Nico. I don't think he's I think he's a good kid that got bad advice. I think, honestly, I just think his dad kind of has a bad mentality about this whole situation, and like I said, overplayed his hand. We'll probably see. And once you sit out of practice, you stop going to team meetings, it's over. Like, you can't come back from that. So it was good. It was, like I said, it was a good move, and we'll see how this develops with other teams and other players, because I doubt we've seen the last of these.
Yeah, that was gonna be my thing. What do you think about if this happens at other places? What do you think the outcome will be?
Hopefully the same. It really does just depend on the situation, though. You know, I mean, I don't think he would ever do something like this, but like Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State, right, is the most electric receiver in college football. He's probably the most electric player in college football. I think he could probably go get any number he wanted from any school, but we haven't seen him do something like this. And so it will be interesting to see if high-profile players like him do try to seek something like this. Now, a lot of this will probably change once the House settlement passes, and we're kind of moving more towards direct pay-for-play as opposed to this NIL structure. That's a whole nother segment of radio for another time. But it's definitely something that I think will change the landscape a little bit, and will be it could prevent these things too, because it definitely would be more money for the players. It's a little bit more of a quote-unquote fair format to pay them in. I do hope it doesn't happen again, because look, for as much attention and as many page views and as much money as my company made off this story this weekend, it's not great for college football. This can't be happening. It disconnects people from young kids and probably puts them in a bad spot for their careers moving forward.
I think you made a great point. Like I said, I agree with you on the House versus NCAA. That could impact a lot as well. This move could have been partially because of that, because these type of big time deals now through NIL are going to have to go through some extra hoops and loops to get them done and approved in the future. And so yeah, I could see why that was definitely a big piece of it. So yeah, I'll be fascinated to see what it all looks like here in a couple of years, but certainly a big step in the right direction. I think personally for Tennessee, I just decided to let him go. But he's Riley Gates of On3 Sports. Riley, thank you so much for joining us here on this Monday, my friend. Have a great week.
Absolutely, anytime.
All right, great stuff there from Riley Gates here on the Morning Blitz. Really good stuff there. Like I said, I just expect, like I said, this is going to be one of those deals. We maybe see another one like this before it's all said and done. But when that deal goes through with the House and the NCAA, and you're paying players, the universities are paying players to come and play football or whatever sport for them, it's going to cut down on these NIL deals where they're going to be searching for more and more money. It's going to be harder to do so. And so that's yeah, like I said, this is and Riley made a great point about his dad and having influence on him. I think when it's all said and done, Nico's probably going to regret the decisions that happened here over the last 72 hours or so. I do believe that. All right, 7:54 Mountain Time, 8:54 Central. We'll take another timeout. We'll come back, wrap up the show with some final thoughts and the walk-off. That's next here on the Blitz.
At FNB Bank, we know family comes first. Whether you're opening a savings account for your kids, buying a new home, or planning for the future, we're here to help every step of the way. With personalized service and flexible options, we make banking easy for your growing family. FNB Bank, serving families, strengthening communities. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Spring is here, and Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware has everything you need for the season. Get your lawn looking its best with Ultimate Fertilizer and power up with Ego blowers and mowers. Got a project? They got a surplus of lumber ready to go. Plus, fire up the fun with their selection of grills and griddles. Hoover's is also proud to sponsor the Pioneer 5K, 10K, half and full marathon supporting Colby Community College cross country on April 26th and remind you to sign up and participate. It's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring.
Looking for a delicious meal on the go? Stop by Cowboy Corner in Goodland, Kansas. Start your day with our classic biscuits and gravy or enjoy a fresh, made-to-order sub sandwich for lunch. Whatever you're craving, we've got you covered. Our friendly staff is always ready to serve with a smile. And while you're here, check out our convenience store, filled with snacks, drinks, and everything else you need to keep you going. Whether you're fueling up or just hungry, Cowboy Corner has something for everyone. Stop by today and enjoy great food, friendly faces, and a variety of snacks all in one spot.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
Happy Community Bank Month from all of us at Farmers State Bank of Oakley. We're proud to be your local bank, rooted and invested in our community since 1907. Thank you to our customers for your continued trust and loyalty. And if you're looking for a more local and genuine banking experience, come visit with us. We're ready to help. Farmers State Bank of Oakley, member FDIC.
From the headlines to the highlights.
It's good! The Wildcats are champions of the Big 12!
This is the Morning Blitz.
All right, wrapping up a one-day show here. Thanks again to Riley Gates for joining us. A good conversation with him. Want to get to a few quick things here in the leftover stuff we missed from earlier in the show. Plenty of softball and baseball stuff to get to on the local level. Good Friday for Colby High School softball. They bounced back from a pair of losses earlier in the week. They swept Russell on Friday 11-9 and 11-5. That improves Lady Eagles to 6-4 this season. Goodland Cowgirl softball went down to Garden City. Knew it was going to be a tall task. They lose 10-0 and 10-1. Big-time day for Kylie Whitehurst, who was the pitcher for Garden City. She struck out the Cowgirl bats 28 times over the doubleheader. Cowgirls now 1-5 this season. They'll be at home Tuesday hosting Hayes TMP. Another tough game on the schedule, but it'll be the home opener for Cowgirl softball on Tuesday. Colby Community College softball hung tough, but ultimately lost to Butler on Saturday. Lady Trojans lost game 1 4-2. Game 2, very entertaining, went all the way to 11 innings, but CCC still lost 6-5 there to Colby. Or sorry, it's lost to Butler, I should say. Colby 27-20 overall, 8-16 in the conference. Fort Hays Tech Northwest softball played 4 games this weekend. They lost to Garden City 23-1 and 19-4 on Saturday. Turnaround on Sunday and lost 15-0, 19-1 on Sunday. Still winless on the season is Fort Hays Tech Northwest softball. Colby Community College baseball able to avoid a sweep by Seward County. They split their Saturday doubleheader. They lost both games on this past Thursday. Split the Saturday doubleheader. Trojans winning game 1 12-2. It was their first win in the month of April. Remember we were talking about how they'd won like 12 in a row? I mean, March was really a good month for them. Month of April has been much tougher. Got their first win in the month of April just on Saturday. They were blown out, though, in game number 2, 27-7. Boy, pitching and defense struggling for the Trojans for sure here as of late. Colby is now 23-18 overall, 11-9 in the Jayhawk. They actually have a game today at McCook Community College. It's a single 9-inning game, I should say. And a pair of makeup games today. You've got Colby baseball hosting Russell and Colby, and Goodland baseball here at home hosting Garden City for baseball this afternoon over at Centennial Park. So good luck to both those teams as they get some games made up after some rainy weather a couple weeks ago. So there you go. That's the leftovers for it. Let's get to the walk-off.
And back lifts his ball deep to right. How about a walk-off three? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
always love it when you can have something new and exciting, something a little bit different. And that's what happened in the NCAA's Frozen Four in the NCAA Hockey Men's National Championship game as Western Michigan took down Boston University 6-2 and captures their first ever national title. So the hockey national champions, reigning from the beautifully named Kalamazoo, Michigan. Congratulations to Western Michigan. First national title in their program's history. Really, really cool. Also something really unique. Nebraska volleyball over the last handful of years has done this cool thing where they go out to, they kind of go out and scout, and then they say, hey, we're going to go play a scrimmage out in a small town in Nebraska. They've been all types of different places over the years. This year, they're going to be out in Ord, Nebraska. Not a very big town. Gym only holds about 1,400. They sold it out in about 20 minutes. They sold it out. This reminds me of like the old KU barnstorming deals. I wish they'd go back to that. Wouldn't it be cool to see like KU or K-State, men or women, come out to the Max Jones Fieldhouse or the Colby Event Center or some other cool arena and play a scrimmage or something like that? Sell tickets. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be really, really cool. Nebraska volleyball still does it. It'd be really neat if, we saw KU or K-State do it. That'd be kind of neat. I'd go watch. That'd be fun. But Nebraska volleyball, once again, doing what they do best, selling out small arenas during the summertime for scrimmages. Very, very cool story there. All right, that'll do it for our program today. Thanks again to Riley Gates. Thanks again to you for listening and being on with us here on this Monday show. We're back again tomorrow in 23 hours on a Tuesday. It's been the Blitz. Have a good one.
This is where classic rock legends take flight. Rocket 102.